Throughout my recent years skiing, I have used skis as short as 183 centimeters in length, all the way up to 188 centimeters in length. And starting this year, I actually moved up to a ski at 192 centimeters in length. For reference, I am 5'10", about 190 pounds. And in this video, I'm gonna kind of be talking and just sharing my thoughts on the 185 centimeter ski length compared to a 192 centimeter ski length at 116 millimeters underfoot. There are several pros and cons to both longer and shorter skis. And the reason why I went up to a 192 centimeter this year was I felt like the 185 centimeter length was just a little bit too short, especially for an all wood powder ski that has a lot of rocker both in the tips and tail. I felt like the effective edge was just not very much, and I wanted to try something that maybe was a little bit longer in length. It's really not an equal comparison, as I've used a 185 centimeter ski more than any ski really ever. I used to use the 185 JJ for a long time, and then I moved up into like the White Walker and stuff like that. So I spent a lot of time on a fully rockered 185 centimeter ski, and I've probably skied the 192 here behind me, I don't know, like a handful of times. So, and the only way to really know if the 192 is a better ski for me is to just try it. So I picked one up at the start of this year, mounted it up, and I've been using it really exclusively this year. So I figured rather than talk about it and sort of hypothesize about a longer ski, just try it. So it's important to know that ski length is pretty damn subjective. It's kind of based on a host of factors, including, but really not limited to, your height, your weight, the type of terrain you like to ski, the level of skier you are, and also how strong of a skier you are. How strong are your legs? How much power do you put into the ski? So there's not really, in my opinion, like, oh, you're 5'10", this is the ski length you should be in. Skis come in all different shapes and forms. So based on the geometry of the ski and those other factors, this kind of all plays a role in determining what ski length you use. So it's all personal preference, really. Some people like long skis, some people like short skis. And so, yeah, this is just my opinion. The first advantage that I find with the 192 is just in general, more stability. It is a longer ski. You have more lumber underneath your foot. So you're able to, I would like to say, go faster, charge a little bit harder, and just all around put more power into the ski. There's more wood in front of and behind the binding. So compared to a shorter ski, I just feel like just more comfortable. I just have a little bit more kind of oomph underneath me, and especially at the 116 millimeter under my foot, I have a lot of ski that I'm working with. So I'm able to travel a little faster. I'm able to just sort of take the chop and chunder and just inconsistent snow a lot easier, and all around I think just ski a little bit harder. When it comes into more of like the actual performance aspect, I can put way more power into this ski than I feel like I could with the 185. A lot of times with the 185, I felt like I was kind of touching my nose to the tip of the ski as I'm powering through the turns, and now it's like the ski isn't a limiting sort of reagent in the recipe here. So I'm able to, drive a lot harder, and the ski is able to respond to that increased power and torque. With the longer ski, it gives me a more effective edge, meaning that there's just more of the ski touching the snow. And it sounds obvious, but when you're using a all wood, fully rockered ski, you have a lot of your tips and tails quite literally up in the air. And as you're cruising around, especially on things like hardpack or groomers, or just not like deep pow, you get often what's referred to as chatter, where the ski is kind of flexing and moving up and down. And because the ski's longer, I just have more ski on the snow. I mean, it's really as simple as that. So not only does it provide more flotation for pow skiing, it just gives me more ski to touch the snow. So kind of the first just general advantage that I found with the 192 is just more stability and just more power sort of delivery and reception throughout the ski. Before we get into the next point here, today's episode is sponsored by Viome. When it comes to skiing, our body is constantly trying to tell us how we're feeling and how we're performing, whether it's just a dip in energy or maybe you're not feeling as strong. On the mountain that day, a lot of times this is your body's way of telling you that something is not right. But the truth is, just because a food or an activity is healthy doesn't necessarily mean that it's healthy for you specifically. That's where today's sponsor, Viome, comes in and really helped up my game. Viome is an at-home health test that will analyze your body to determine your nutrition and your supplement recommendations. With Viome's test, you'll be able to discover which foods might be triggering swelling or even creating an imbalance throughout your gut and body. As I've gotten older, I've even become more and more sensitive to foods, especially high in dairy and even high in gluten. These results are often actually quite surprising, and foods that you might think are healthy or beneficial might actually be causing some harmful effects that you weren't necessarily aware of. With Viome, you will get insights into the most beneficial supplements and gut biotics for your body so that you can be 100% while you're out on the mountain. Viome's results even give you a biological age, so you can see if you're aging faster or potentially even slower than you actually should be. Viome's test is super easy to take, and you'll actually get your results back in just 2 to 3 weeks via the app, so you no longer need to wait months and months to see if a diet is actually working or if a certain food is creating irritation in your daily life. So if you're interested in trying Viome yourself and seeing the results firsthand, Viome is totally hooked the Stoke Sweat up. You can either click the link in the description box or go to tryviome.com/Lucas110 and use the code Lucas110 to save money on your first test. Thank you, Viome, for sponsoring today's video. Now, the second advantage that I've noticed so far with this ski, and it's honestly just really a derivative of the first one, is it's just better for jumping. It's more effective for jumping. I don't really do so much cliffs and drops and stuff nowadays, but the times that I have just kind of hit small rocks or small little bushes and stuff like that. Again, the stability and the leverage that I have with the 192 is kind of night and day difference. It's probably one of the bigger differences that I've noticed with this ski so far. Oftentimes with like a narrow and short ski, you hit a cliff or something. I mean, also depending on other factors, you might just sort of punch into the ground, go over the top. I used to do that all the time when I used to rock like a 98 all the time underfoot. But with this longer ski, I have, again, more ski in front of the binding and behind. So I can honestly be a little bit more in the back seat or a little bit honestly in the front seat, and there's just more leverage with the ski to keep me upright. So the ski honestly does a little bit more of the work for you. And when you're doing more big mountain skiing and hitting cliff drops where you have a lot of both X and Y sort of momentum and velocity, the longer lumbar, the longer plank just helps you sort of cruise yourself out of those situations. Honestly, a little backstory on why I even decided to move up into a 192 or even begin to think about it was a few years ago, I was on a Icon Pass sort of road trip with a group of skiers up in Canada, and I met this just sort of probably one of the best skiers I've ever had the privilege to ride with. His name is Carter, and he was maybe 5'10", maybe even a little bit less, like 5'9", definitely weighed a little bit less than I did. And I noticed he was on a 192 Blizzard ski. And I really just started asking him, like, man, I thought, like, isn't that ski too long for you? And his whole response was kind of just centered around what I talked about, is like, well, actually a longer ski allows him to hit bigger cliffs, do bigger drops because there's just more leverage in the ski. So that was actually the reason why I started to look into a bigger ski, kind of revolved around meeting this kid Carter, seeing how he skied, and just like kind of raised this, oh yeah, it would physically, literally physics, it makes sense to have a little bit more of a lever to help alleviate some of your impact. The last advantage of the 192, again, is another sort of derivative off this umbrella of just more stability, more ski, but that is just increased flotation. But with a longer ski, you literally have more surface area on the ski. So when it comes to pow days, it gives you more flotation. So not only does a wider underfoot help keep you above the snow for pow days, but also the longer the ski lengthwise would also give you more flotation. So when it comes to those big empty sort of open pow days, the 116 at 192 length is just even better than the 185 in my opinion. So just gives me a little bit more ski to help stay above the snow, ski pow even easier, ski pow even faster, where the 185 again is just a little bit shorter, albeit it's the same underfoot. But I've just noticed, kind of a third sort of expansion point is just, there's just in general more surface area for this ski. So again, comes with pros and cons, but kind of the three main things for the 192 over the 185 when it comes to the positives are increased stability, more effective jumping, and just overall increased surface area on the snow. But I don't want to sit up here and just tell you how the 192 is just better than the 185 in all aspects. There are a few things, honestly, that have been a struggle to adapt to, and things that I'm not totally psyched on. And number one is it's just more work of a ski. You got to think that 192 in length at 116 underfoot, it is just a lot of ski. Like there's a lot of wood underneath to move around, albeit it is a light ski with the Cord, but yeah, it's a lot of work to ski this ski, especially when you're not in like the optimal pow condition. So I find that I have to be a much more conscious skier with this underneath my foot, where to be honest, a lot of times just because I've been skiing for so long, skiing is almost, I don't want to say passive, but a lot of times I can almost ski subconsciously in a way. But I've just noticed with the 192, I have been like so focused and just so engaged and conscious, both mentally and physically with the ski. So I guess that could be good or bad depending on what you want to get out of skiing. But yeah, in general, it's just a lot more ski. So my legs have gotten a lot more tired. If you're looking for a ski that, yeah, you can just sort of cruise around with and not feel as such of a workout, I mean, a longer ski is definitely going to impose that. The next drawback I found, and this could be because I just don't have enough time on the ski, I'm just not that good of a skier, but it's just how much easier it is to get tossed into the back seat in this ski. Like as soon as you are not engaged on the front of your boots and you kind of get into some moguls especially, or just some sort of inconsistent snow, as soon as you start to get towards the back of the boot there, the ski is very easy to go out from underneath you. So in line with that more work type of ski, this thing just very, very easy to be thrown in the back seat. So you're always fighting and really making an effort to be on the front of the boots. I mean, you should do that anyways, but again, with a shorter ski, it's easier to do that. So, and I like start to feel myself kind of get thrown back just naturally from skiing. I really need to fight to pull those hips underneath me, get to the front of the boots, or else the ski will quickly become the driver. And as we know, like you want to be in control of your skis. You want to be driving the skis at all times. So the ski is a lot more sporty because, you know, think of like a sports car versus, I don't know, like a minivan or something, you know, where it's just like the ski wants to go. And it as soon as you sort of let it get out from underneath you, it's kind of takes a lot to rein it back in. So the second point is it's just, again, more work, but very easy to get thrown in the back seat. And lastly, and maybe one of the more obvious points is it's a bigger turn radius. Like, yeah, you can't make as tight of turns. I will say personally, I haven't felt like I thought this is going to be more apparent in my opinion. I mean, I have a mogul background, so I'm kind of used to making fast, short, really tight turns. And I guess I'm pleasantly surprised that I haven't been like, oh my God, I can't turn these skis. But I have felt that, again, just more in line with the more work, the back seat, like it is harder to turn them quicker, but I've still been able to turn them quickly, if that makes sense. But again, if you're someone who just loves skiing really, really tight trees, if you're like a bump skier, I mean, you wouldn't be getting like a 116 underfoot. But, you know, if you want something where you're ripping bumps around the mountain a lot, that's where a shorter ski would maybe be a little bit more beneficial for you. So a longer ski is going to prevent that shorter turn radius. However, personally, I haven't really found that as super hampering. I think a lot of that actually speaks to just sort of the geometry and the way the White Walker is made, but it's not really about the White Walker specifically as much as it is about the ski length, if that makes sense. So I would almost say that the tight turn radius and stuff is more of just, again, a comfort experience and sort of mental thing more than anything. Really, to wrap up, like the three sort of drawbacks that I find is that the ski is a lot more demanding. It's easier to get pushed in the back seat, or maybe the right way to say this is just a little bit less forgiving of a ski. And three, you have the potential for a larger turn radius, not as quick turns, if that makes sense. So to wrap this up, I think the question that, you know, you guys might be interested in is like, okay, so that's all great, but like, what would you recommend? I gotta be honest, it's hard for me to really pick one or the other. That's why I haven't gotten rid of my 185s yet. There's honestly times and days where I'm like, man, I just wish I had my 185 116 underfoot. And there's been days where I'm like, yeah, I'm really glad that I'm on the 192. And it's crazy because it's literally just a 7 centimeter difference from a 185 to 192. And it's like, you know, on paper and stuff, like it's not even that big of a number, but you definitely feel it in the different performance aspects of the ski. So I think you have to really look at your own situation, be honest with yourself as a skier and what you like to ski, and kind of ask yourself, what are you trying to get out of skiing? If you just want, like, if you're content, you're happy with what you ski, you know, maybe you're good with where you're at. But if you're trying to kind of take your skiing to the next level, if you want to be able to hit bigger features, ski faster, charge harder, maybe that bigger ski length is right for you. So I can't really answer that for you. Like I said, I think there's times where I would appreciate both skis, but if I like absolutely had to choose and you're like, no, you can only take one of these, I think I would have to choose the 192 over the 185 because I think there's more potential with this ski, if that makes sense, where the 185 is more comfortable. I'm able to whip it around more, slash it, butter it a lot easier. But I'm hopeful that as I ski the 192 more, I'll be able to get to that point. But I think there's some limitations on the 185 that like I won't be able to get through because of the ski length, where the 192 is up here, and I need to get myself up to that level, if that makes sense. So again, that is just my opinion. There's so many factors that go into ski length, and look, if you're one of these people who skis POW at like a 98 or whatever, and well, like that's great. You can ski that. I can ski it on this. I hate the whole sort of argument of, oh, you don't need this, you don't need that, just ski this, blah, like it doesn't matter. Ski what you want to ski. I'm talking about what I use for the stuff I like to ski, how I like to ski. And that's kind of my thoughts on that. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you to Viome for sponsoring today's episode, and I'll see all of you guys in the next one. Take it easy, fam. Peace out.